Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Grüns is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Grüns.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
It's the Go Gopher podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 21. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We're going to talk Golden Gopher baseball on today's Go Gopher podcast, and I think you'll find our interview guest quite compelling. Brady Counsell just finished his freshman season with the Golden Gophers and played well. He played in 36 games, he had 20 hits, including a home run, and he's the son of former major leaguer Craig Counsell, a 2-time World Series hero, and the current manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll talk to him about his Gopher season and about growing up in a baseball household. Before we get to that, however, I'd like to offer up a chance for you to be part of a new feature on our Go Gopher podcast. We'll run it periodically. We'll call it simply the mailbag segment, where you can tweet to me any question you want, whether it's about the Gophers, about broadcasting, about Minnesota, anything we've done on the Go Gopher podcast, or anything else. And then every few weeks, we'll collect a bunch of these questions and answer them the best we can here on the Go Gopher podcast. So if you want to be a part of that first group of questions in the coming weeks, start sending me these questions. Do so by tweeting at me. My handle is MikeGrimm3. You can also follow me there. You can also hashtag the question Go Gopher Podcast. Hashtag Go Gopher Podcast. Again, either MikeGrimm3 or hashtag Go Gopher Podcast. We'll answer questions every few weeks throughout the summer months on the Go Gopher Podcast. And again, it's Mike Grimm 3 and or hashtag Go Gopher Podcast. Our Go Gopher Podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. You can get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today by going to sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Make the most of your life's work. I'm proud they're associated with our Go Gopher podcast. Our podcast is also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland at ChamplinInsurance.com. Tony loves Golden Gopher baseball. We invite you to subscribe to the podcast as well. It's free to click the subscribe button. You can listen at any time. You can also go back and listen to previous podcasts. That includes last week's show. We showcase Gopher softball with head coach Piper Ritter and former player and analyst Erica Smith. I'd also invite you to offer feedback on our podcast and share or retweet links to the Go Gopher podcast so others can find out about it and listen for free as well. When we come back, we'll talk Golden Gopher baseball with freshman infielder Brady Counsell. But first, a word from Tony.
Hey Gopher fans, this is your State Farm agent Tony Hoagland. We are super excited to be part of the new Mike Grimm Show on Talk North. For the year of 2022, we will be donating $10 to the University of Minnesota Children's Masonics Hospital for everyone that calls our office or checks in with us online and mentions that they heard about us on Talk North and the Mike Grimm Show. We are really excited again that Mike came on board with Talk North. You can reach us at 763-421-4900. You can find us on the web at ChamplinInsurance.com. Again, 763-421-4900, or find us on the web at ChamplinInsurance.com. Roll the boat, Sky Yuma, go Gophers.
It is episode number 21 of the Go Gopher podcast. We're going to talk some Golden Gopher baseball, and it's our pleasure to welcome to the show here Brady Counsell, a Golden Gopher baseball player who just finished his freshman season with Minnesota. He is from the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area, and if his last name sounds familiar, yes, that Counsell is that Counsell. He is the son of Craig Counsell, the former big leaguer who was the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers. And Brady, good to see you.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
Well, let's before we get into some of the stories about growing up as a big leaguer's kid, which I'm sure you've got a few good ones, and I'm interested to know how that has shaped you as a ball player. Let's talk about the Gopher season just completed. As a freshman, you came in from that Milwaukee area. You started more games than any freshman on the team from a positional standpoint. What was that first year like for you?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ups and downs. It was a great learning process. I think I learned a lot this year. Just kind of some of the older guys like Easton and Chase helped me out through the season was a big deal, and I think I came a long way this year. I'm excited for the next couple seasons.
What was the transition like from high school into Big Ten conference play? Just going from what you see every night, maybe as a high school player, to what you see every weekend as a Power 5 conference player.
Yeah, I think everyone's just bigger, faster, stronger. They throw the ball a lot harder. They can hit their spots and locate multiple pitches. So it was kind of something I had to get used to and adjust to. I think as the season went along, I kind of started to pick up with the competition.
As the season went on as well, was there anything that maybe surprised you that it came easier than you thought? And was there anything that surprised you that, man, this is a little trickier maybe than I thought in terms of what maybe your expectation level was coming in?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference from college to high school is that they get scouting reports on you. So, the first couple of weeks, keep getting fastballs to hit, and then slowly they figure out, at least for me, they're to keep throwing the slider. So just kind of having to adjust to that is kind of one of the next steps that happens in college baseball.
Yeah, slider's a tough pitch, right? To stay on it and identify it and know once you figure that out, it's definitely a step forward. There's no doubt about that. And from a team standpoint, obviously, I think everyone would agree that the team record isn't maybe where it has been over the course of all these great years that John Anderson was the coach. What are some areas that you felt like because it was close, right? You guys had so many leads, and then a couple of games you kick away here or whatever. How close do you think this team is, to being back to where you want it to be? And how hard was that at times to go through some of the struggles from a team perspective this past season?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. I think coming into the year, we thought we were going to have a pretty successful year. I think kind of throughout the year, we just didn't play complete games. One game we hit and then our pitching wasn't good. And the next day we'd hit bad and our pitching was good. So I think we had all the aspects there. We just never really put together consistently good baseball throughout the whole year.
What from that standpoint, what do you think now as you guys and the returners and you've gotten a good feel now as a baseball guy as to maybe where this team is and how close it might be heading into the offseason? What are some things that you and your teammates will be paying attention to get better as we approach the fall, when you have the fall season and then obviously the real season next spring?
Yeah, I think everyone just kind of has to focus on themselves and keep getting better. I think there's a long way for a lot of guys to go. I think just trying to get better every day, and then once you get back in the fall, start putting it back together and putting the pieces together and try to create a good winning season next year.
Was there some learning aspect too as a freshman, the grind of having college classes and then all the travel, in the non-conference, you're jumping on airplanes and going to Texas and Florida and, trying to stay up with homework and playing baseball. And then, obviously you had the home games at the Viking Stadium early. And how much of an adjustment was that part of it?
Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest adjustments, just kind of learning your time management skills. It's a little easier in the off season, but once you get baseball going, you're there for 7 hours a day when you have games. So just kind of starting to try to get ahead on project and homework was a big thing that I had to learn. And our academic advisor, Cal Nelson, kind of helps you out with that. And so he's a big help, and that makes things a lot easier for sure.
What is your study schedule? What is your major, and what are you hoping to do way down the road with your education?
Yeah, I'm going to be majored in finance. I got into the business school after the first semester, which was really nice. So I'm probably going to go into finance. I'm not really sure what I want to do yet in that category, but that's going to be my major for sure. So excited to dive into that kind of the next couple of years.
Yeah, there's some. I know this for a fact because one of them is my guy. There's former Gophers who do a lot of finances and manage money and those kind of things. So you've got already probably some connections in that world. As you'll find out, the Gopher network is all across the country and certainly can help out from that standpoint. Take me through your reasons for coming to Minnesota as you went through that recruiting process as a great high school player out of the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, for me, the coaches were a big deal. Pat Casey recruited me for the most part, and I really like the way he went about things. Really passionate about the game, and then obviously there's a great winning legacy here. Obviously didn't happen this year, but that was kind of one of the big reasons, trying to win games, win Big Ten championships, and yeah, obviously just kind of continuing on the legacy that people have built here.
Your dad obviously is a baseball guy. He was in the big leagues for 16 seasons. He now runs a big league team. How much input did he have in terms of your recruiting process and kind of helping you out, maybe offering advice, or did he leave the decision mostly to you?
No, he left it up to me. He probably gave me a couple of good pointers just kind of about what he saw throughout the process, but for the most part, it was my own decision. Kind of making the decision I felt was best for me, and obviously they supported me no matter what decision I made, but they're just kind of there for support, and if I had any questions, they were there to answer me.
What are your What are your plans for the summer now? Are you going to be in a wood bat league or a college league?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing in the Northwoods League. I'm playing Kenosha with the Kingfish. So me and Randon Dahman, who's a pitcher here, are living together and playing together this summer, which will be a lot of fun. So first game's on Monday, so looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, so that's coming up for sure. And yeah, I remember I interviewed him. He's got what is his foundation where he gets youth? He finds kids who need baseball equipment, right, or sports equipment.
Yeah, it's called Next of Can. It's a charity. He's a really great kid, and he's helped a lot of people out. So I think hopefully I'll be able to help him out with some stuff this summer.
You mentioned the season starts Monday, so it's coming up. Probably cool, too, that it's in your home state. Did you pick Kenosha for those kind of reasons, to be around home?
Yeah, I was in Wilmer last year, which is a little farther away, and this year I was lucky enough to get into Kenosha. So it's kind of nice. I'll be able to come home a little bit more, which obviously makes things a lot easier, especially during the grind of the Northwoods.
Yeah, the Wilmer Stingers. I've actually been to a game there. That's a fun fun place for sure. Beautiful area with the lakes over there and all of that. How good is that league? That's a pretty darn good league. A lot of big leaguers have come through that league, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really competitive. I played in it last year. I think that was kind of a big part of the success I had this year was playing that last year, and it's obviously really competitive. So a lot of games and get a lot better during the summer season playing in the Northwoods. So it's a great experience.
Last thing for you from that standpoint. So you get a lot of at bats. Where to then does it come in from? You gotta rest the body at some point. You're coming off of a long season here in college baseball where you probably played more games maybe than you have in your life, and rolling right in now Monday with the Northwoods League. Between arm and body and mind probably as much as anything. When do you get to take a collective breath and recharge, so to speak?
Yeah, this week's definitely kind of a lighter week. Not really much baseball going on, kind of just a mental break from everything. So that's obviously nice. And then just kind of throughout, it's kind of tough because you got 70 games, but probably the last couple of weeks of August, you take kind of a good chunk of time off before we get back into fall ball just to kind of reset everything. So it's obviously a lot of baseball, but it's a lot of fun. So looking forward to it.
What did you learn last year about time on the bus? How do you spend time on the bus? Because there's some trips that take some time in that league, right?
Yeah, it's tough. Hopefully you get your own row so you can sleep a lot. That's what I try to do at least. Maybe find a good movie or you got a good book, read it. But those are long bus rides. So I usually try to sleep. It's my go-to thing, but it's absolutely tough when you're sitting next to someone.
Yeah. And I'm not a great Wisconsin geography mind. How close is Kenosha to where you grew up, and will you be with a host family, or are you going to be able to stay at home?
Yeah, I'll be with the host family. Kenosha is about an hour south of where I'm at, so not too far, but long enough for me to stay with the host family and just kind of makes things a little easier.
Yeah, close enough that you can have family and friends come and watch, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, great. Well, let's talk a little bit about what it was like for you growing up as a major leaguer son. Craig Counsell, 16 seasons, 2-time World Series winner. Now, much of that came before you were born, right? I mean, much of his success. Obviously, he had the game-winning hit, with Florida, and was part of that great 0-1 Diamondbacks team that pulled the big upset on the Yankees. I remember those. You probably just get to read about it. Maybe I'm sure your dad's played highlights or has suggested you watch a video of that. What was it? When did you first figure out, I guess I'll ask it this way, when did you first figure out that you were part of a family that was, a pretty big-time baseball family?
Yeah, I'd say probably like getting like first or second grade, our parents would pull us out of school to go to Arizona during the winter. So that's kind of when you started to realize it's a big deal. We're moving to Arizona for 4 months a year to let your dad play baseball. So that's probably kind of when I started to realize it. And then obviously as time goes on, it's continued to build his legacy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math in my head. So when did you, when did you figure out? Were you able to watch him play, or were you too young to remember any of that?
I think he played till I was about 8 years old. I think he retired in 2012, so I was probably 8 or 9. So I remember like kind of the last like 2 years of his career, but before that's kind of blank. But I mean, I think the biggest thing I remember is the playoff game in St. Louis. That was I think that was his last season, so that's kind of the last memory I had of him playing.
Yeah, and that was certainly St. Louis and Milwaukee had a great rivalry, still do for that matter. I actually worked in radio in St. Louis. I was the Cardinals pregame and postgame host from 2001 to 2006. So I got to see your dad come into town when he was with. I got to remember now if he was with both Milwaukee the first time. I got to think, and then Arizona. And probably Florida too. Now that I think about it, but it was fun to watch, and you could even tell then that he probably had a future as a guy who could manage a team and coach a team and do some of those things. So you watched him play in St. Louis in that series, and then he works his way into a coaching position, and that's probably mostly what you remember, right? Just watching him manage the Brewers here, and in your guys' hometown. I mean, it's his hometown too, right? Which is cool.
Yeah.
He kind of grew up in same high school you guys all went to.
Yeah, for sure. He actually he got the job on my birthday. I think it was like May 30th. He took the job. So that's kind of the memory I have of him getting the job. And then he's had a great amount of success with 2018. They went to the championship round. So those are all cool moments to remember.
For sure. What as you're growing up with that too, you go, as you mentioned, you pack up your bags, you go to Arizona, you're starting to watch, spring training, and then watch your dad play. Would he take you to the ballpark? I can remember in St. Louis when I was covering the team, and I'll use this as an example and then ask if you had a similar experience. Cal Eldred, who's now the pitching coach for the Royals and a former Brewer for that matter, he was playing for the Cardinals during that stretch, and he would bring his kids way early, way before anybody else, and they'd go out to center field, and he'd throw batting practice to them, and they were young, like 9, 10, 11 years old, and you could tell they were good, and I know at least one of them went on to pitch for Iowa, where Cal pitched, and I think got drafted, and I don't know where they are now. I've kind of lost track, but did you have a similar experience? Would your dad bring you to the ballpark and throw you BP, whether it's out on the field or underneath in the cages and those kind of things?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely when we were younger, after games, we always would go and try to hit on the field. Usually we just hit near the wall so we could hit a lot of home runs. That was what we used to do. And I think as I got older, I started to be able to go like kind of when he went and in between BP and the game, he'd let me hit in the cages or hit me ground balls if I was lucky enough. So I always was there. It was a lot of fun learning from especially see how those guys work every day. So that was probably a big thing of why I'm where I am today.
And then I'm guessing, as a manager's son, that the players on the team treated you well because they wanted to be on the good side of the guy making playing time decisions, right? So, can you take us through some of the players that maybe helped you along the way, or were nice to you, or maybe gave you a glove or something over the years? Were there some cool guys that treated you well?
Yeah, Martin Maldonado. He's a catcher with the Astros now. I have one of his gloves in my locker. I think Gene Segura too. He was a Brewer. He's with the Phillies now. Both those guys, I both have their gloves in my locker. So those guys are always great. And then they had a coach, Carlos Subero. His son was my age, and we'd always work out together. And he'd throw to us and hit us ground balls, which was always a lot of fun.
Did you have your own little locker where you had your own gear you could go dress and get ready, or did you have to come to the ballpark dressed and ready?
No, I didn't. My dad has his own locker in his office, so I just changed with him in there.
Yeah.
He'd never let me do that. That's not his thing at all. So, I had clothes, a pile of clothes in the back of his locker that I'd get to use. So that was kind of where I was with that.
What was it like to where, being around baseball where, it's really in essence your family's livelihood and your dad's making decisions that impact winning every night. And I'm sure there are nights where he comes home and maybe it's a tougher loss than normal. And because you're obviously over the course of 162, as they say, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But there are certain nights, I suppose, that might eat at a manager more, or on the flip side, just an exhilarating win. What do you remember about how your dad and still to this day, how he handles winning and losing, and and how maybe you try to separate it when you leave the ballpark and maybe not bring it to the house.
Yeah, for sure. I think kind of goes the same for like how he is now. It's just trying to kind of, when you lose, you just kind of let it go. Not really talk about it. He does the same thing with me. If we lose, he's not going to reach out or anything. But when we win, it's just, we're going to talk about it. He's obviously in a better mood when they win. It's kind of how it works. But yeah, I think he's been in the league so long, he's pretty even keeled now. Just kind of trying to leave it at the field. It's what he's always tried to do.
What do you admire the most when you watch him go about his business as a manager? I'm not taking aside from the fatherly part for you, but just watching him as he manages a ball club.
Yeah, I think he's really unique in how he does stuff. He kind of just believes in himself and trusts his instincts. A lot of people make decisions kind of based. I think he makes decisions based off his gut, and kind of doesn't let others influence his decisions, which I think's pretty cool.
Yeah, and certainly in the last, I'm going to say 5 to 10 years, the analytics part of it has changed in terms of shifts and where you play. And, now we're seeing you don't want a pitcher to, face a batter 3 times, so starters are only going 4 or 5 innings. How does you mentioned he manages with the gut, which I'm guessing oftentimes may be in conflict with the analytics. So how do you think he goes about and manages that? Obviously, he's got a really good team, so he must have figured out a nice formula there. But I suppose that managers have to figure out that fine line from gut to analytics, right?
Yeah, I think for him it's just using a combination of both. Kind of using the analytics to kind of like help influence it or help further his decision and give him more confidence that what he's doing is going to turn out right.
When you were young, now I want to ask you about the fatherly side of it in terms of baseball, a baseball dad. What, how much was he able to work with you? Obviously, the travel schedule can get tough. Does he get to watch a lot of your high school games? I suppose he missed some over the years as well. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I think probably during high school season, he maybe gets to 3-4 games. There's times when he has an off day, so he'll be able to come. And then sometimes if there's a Thursday game and we're playing at night, he'll be able to show up. He doesn't come to a lot of our games, but over the years, we've tried to get games on video so we can kind of live stream the games so we can watch him, even when he's either at the field or in another state. So that's kind of how he's always done it. And then I think growing up, it's a lot easier when we're in October to December. He's obviously my biggest coach in that season because he's home a lot. So we always work together then, but kind of once a season, he's pretty busy. So he comes to a couple games, but for the most part, he's not there.
Do you have a cage at your house where you guys can get in and work?
Yeah, we have a cage outside. It's obviously when it's in Wisconsin, you can't really do much in the winter, but during the summer, we always use it. So that's been great.
How much? Obviously, he had that unique batting stance, with the hands, right, high hands. And how much do you have you tried to copy that at all, or do you have your own unique way in terms of how he taught you to take an at bat?
Yeah, I've tried it. I don't think he wants me doing that. Doesn't look pretty good, and it only worked for him. So he's kind of just let me do my own thing. He obviously helps me a lot, but I don't think he wants me copying his batting stance.
Now, you have a younger brother who's a pretty good player too, right?
Yeah, I do. He's going to Michigan. He's a junior, so we've worked together all the time, and it's good to push each other. And it's a lot of fun.
So you'll be able to see him in the Big Ten here in a couple years.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah, great.
For sure.
Michigan's certainly a good program as well. And you mentioned your dad would maybe watch some high school games on video when he gets a chance. I suppose your freshman year here, he was able to probably get to watch a few more with the BTN feeds and the internet feeds. And, whether it was I'm picturing in my mind he was probably sitting in his manager's office maybe for a day game, and he's got the computer dialed up or the TV on, right?
Yeah, for sure. I know at first thing came in when I saw the login on the computer. So I know they're watching all the games when they can. It's pretty easy for him, especially when we have Saturday games and they're at night. So I know he watched a good amount of our games this year, thanks to BTN and all that stuff.
What and then how much do you try to help your younger brother as well, and just passing on info and being that role model as well?
Yeah, during the off season, we work together, kind of bounce ideas off each other a lot. I saw him play for the first time yesterday, so that was great. But for the most part, we kind of just let each other do our own thing. We'll talk a lot. If he's struggling or I'm struggling, we'll probably talk a little bit, but when we're both doing it, we kind of just let it be and just kind of pat each other on the back.
Now you have two younger sisters as well. Are they into athletics as well?
My younger sister runs track, and then my youngest sister is really competitive. She's a really good basketball player. She's still in 7th grade, so she's still pretty young, but she still does play basketball, and she's really good at it. So hopefully there's a future there for her.
Yeah, no softball though?
No softball. Pretty interesting actually. They've never even touched a softball, so I'm not sure what that's about, but I guess just how it is.
Yeah, they're out of the family business apparently, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty good. As you now watch, you're into soon your summer league. How closely do you then, on the flip side, while your dad is trying to log on games, and maybe while you're here in Minnesota, it was a little trickier to watch the Brewers play? Obviously, that's, I'm guessing, the team you're rooting for. Yeah,
for sure. During the week, it's a lot easier when we're just practicing, and then on bus rides, obviously, that's another thing I do. Turn on a Brewers game. I follow them pretty closely. Obviously, it's a big deal in our family, whether they're winning or losing. So I keep pretty close attention for sure.
What was, as growing up as a Brewers fan? What's the highlight of your time with watching your dad manage? And then I'm guessing, as a young guy, if there's disappointment, whether it's a playoff loss or what have you, that when you're young, it really hits you, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I remember is, I think it was 2012, Nigel Morgan hit a walk-off single against the Diamondbacks. That was one of the biggest memories I had. And then 2018, when they I think they took game 6 from the Dodgers at home. They obviously lost that series, which sucked, but that was one of probably the 2 biggest memories I have from watching him play and manage.
Were your favorite players growing up all Brewers, or when other guys would come through, Miller Park? I guess I don't remember what it's called now, American Family Park, maybe. I guess or did you also kind of take in other guys too as guys to root for?
I'd say probably favorite players are always Brewers players. I feel like it's how it is, especially when you've met them or seen them in person. I think it kind of makes you want to like them more and root for them even more.
You do you have one favorite player, like when you were growing up, that you had as posters or what have you?
Carlos Gomez and Prince Fielder were probably my favorite players growing up. They're both great people and obviously really good players.
Exciting. Like Gomez was a Twin for a while, so certainly people, Gopher fans listening here, will remember Gomez. I think that was a guy that the Twins got from initially the Mets in the Johan Santana trade, and then he comes to the Twin Cities to play for Minnesota. And I remember early in his Metrodome career, man, he was, with that turf, he would pound it into the ground and he could run and steal bases. And then I forget how he ended up with the Brewers. Was that the Garza deal? Maybe I'm trying to remember now, but
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Anyway, exciting guy, offense, defense, 5-tool guy, and a little crazy sometimes, wasn't he? It was kind of cool to watch.
Yeah, he was high energy guy for sure. So that was always fun to watch and fun to see on the field. So
as you and I are recording this podcast, people will be listening just to the audio, but I can see in the background. Are you in your room now? Yeah, I am. I got a couple jerseys up here. Randy Johnson. He played with my dad for a while, and then I got Prince Fielder over there. So wow, pretty cool. Yeah, so you got it looks like an autographed Randy Johnson there over your right shoulder as I look at it. Yep. And so does he come around to the ballpark at all? That was certainly a teammate of your dad's for that great Diamondbacks team. Yeah, I think I've met him once or twice. He played with my dad before I was even born, so they were good friends. But he played with my dad before I was even born. But he and my dad are good friends, so got a jersey, which is really cool. And then Prince Fielder, of course, the monster home run hitter. Yeah. And so you have his jersey, and then there's one right behind you. What is? Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Curt Schilling. Yeah. Big Red Sox pitcher. I'm not sure how him and my dad are good friends, but they both played. I think they played against each other for a while. So yeah. Well, he played for Arizona. He was on that title team. That's right. I remember in St. Louis. Not to bring up that memory if you're a Cardinals fan that happens to be stumbling upon this podcast, but he pitched like a 3-hit shutout against the Cardinals one game, and I remember going into the clubhouse to interview him for that. And man, that guy could throw. And then he had the bloody sock game. Remember I think he was with the Red Sox at that time. So yeah, they were teammates back then. That was such a good team. Randy Johnson, Curt Schilling, your dad, Luis Gonzalez. I'm trying to think of some of the other guys on that team. but pretty darn good ball club, that's for sure. So it's kind of cool. And then I see you got some trophies. I assume some of that is from youth baseball way up at the top back there.
Yeah, just kind of just my local travel team, just winning tournaments, and it's kind of a good memory in my room.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you were growing up, how and you're a member of the famous Father Club is what so the old Gopher basketball coach Richard Pitino used to call it that. Of course, he's Rick Pitino's son, and he was always great with us. And he said, he's a member of the famous Father Club. So what was that like for you, just in general? And then because there is a different kind of skill to managing it, because I'm sure there are people who want to try to get under your skin about it, others who want to take advantage of it, others who are just genuine about it. So how does that work even to this day in terms of, being a member of that club, of the famous Father Club?
Yeah, I think it's just every time you step in the field, there's a kind of a way to play the game. You have to play it hard. That's kind of what people expect from you, and people are going to get on you and kind of get under your skin if you don't. So I think there's kind of a name you have to carry around, and with that comes a good responsibility. So just trying to play the game hard. And I think I've gotten used to it over the years. People just, heckling or whatever. It's kind of something you get used to. But for sure, there's a great responsibility that comes with the name. And it's just kind of prove the name and show the great legacy that he created.
Yeah. And on the same page to that, when your dad's at a game, I'm guessing there are probably fans or, even teammates' parents who will look to him to say, well, what do you think? What do you think? And how does he handle, trying to, I suppose my hunch is that he wanted to stay out of it, right? He probably didn't want to stick his nose too much into whatever your coach over the years was doing. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did want to get involved.
No, you're right. He usually likes to stand down the lines where there's no one over there. He should sit by himself and watch the game with my mom or maybe my grandpa. So he usually doesn't interact with too many people when he's watching my games. He kind of just sits alone, just observes. But he's never involved in that stuff. That's not who he is. So that's kind of how he goes about it.
Were you on a travel team as a youngster? Club sports have gotten so big now. I have a hunch that as you were coming up through, you were on not just your high school team, but summertime club teams as well.
Yeah, I played for Hitters out of kind of southern Wisconsin. RJ Ferguson, Tim Schultz is a great club. A lot of big leaguers. Gavin Lux, Owen Miller, both guys who are up in the big leagues now. It's a great program, and that's who I played with my sophomore through senior year, essentially.
So your dad played at the same high school you guys played in Milwaukee, right? Whitefish Bay. And then he was off to Notre Dame. And I want to say, did your grandpa play at Notre Dame too?
My grandpa did play at Notre Dame, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool as you guys all came through. So you've got all Wisconsin roots. Do you walk through the high school? Did your dad have any, like plaques or all-state trophies or anything that are at a trophy case or anything?
Yeah, he had a plaque near the field house. It's kind of it's like a Whitefish Bay Hall of Fame athletes. So he's on there. I think there might be one more picture of him in the field house, and there's his name on the baseball field. That's kind of about it.
So when your last name's on the baseball field, as you said, there's, I suppose, some pressure that comes with it. As that's now the name on the back of your jersey as well when you take the field. But there comes that, like you say, you want to play the game right. You're representing, and there's probably an extra set of eyes or two on you, right? Because that comes with the territory.
Yeah, for sure. It's you kind of get used to it over the years. Everyone's going to look to you, especially when things are going wrong, how you respond and how you act. So it's kind of something I've learned to deal with over the years.
With as the summer gets rolling now, you're going to be on these buses. You're going to be hopefully following the Brewers as they are in first place and continuing this charge. Do you think there'll be a chance if they get into postseason that you'll be able to work the fall calendar outright to go see a game or two in person?
Yeah, hopefully. I was going to last year, but they ended up losing pretty quickly. So I think if they get to the NL Central championship series, I'll be going to try to go back. I was set up to do it last year, and then they obviously lost. But I can, especially if it's a Monday or Tuesday game. They let me miss the lift to go watch the game, so it's obviously great that they let me do that.
Last few for you here. Brady Counsell is with us, and let's get back to kind of Gopher baseball. You mentioned that everybody on the team now just has to take their own time here in the summer and the spring into the summer to just get better for next year. Through that first year as a Big Ten player, who were some of the guys on the team that you maybe grew close to that have bright futures with this Maroon and Gold program?
I think like looking at older guys, Aiden Maldonado had a great year, really good competitor, great person, and kind of goes about his process every day. And he's obviously going to be really successful in the future. I don't know if he'll be on the team next year. I think he might get drafted. But other guys, I think Noah Rooney pitched really good this year. He pitched really well and got a lot better. So those two guys looking forward to seeing next year. And Brett Bateman obviously had a great year. Him and Boston were probably two of our best players this year. So those guys stepped it up this year, and then I think they're going to be great players in the next couple of years.
You hit your first homer at Rutgers. What was that experience like to put a number under the home run column as a college baseball player? Yeah,
it was a great feeling. I think we were down pretty big, but made it feel a little better for sure. That was probably one of my best at-bats of the year. Actually, I think it was 10 or 11 pitches, but to end it that way was obviously awesome.
What was the game? I'm trying to remember who the opponent was. Just a freak kind of an ending where you scored the winning run on, was it a pass ball?
That was against Maryland.
And they were ranked, right? Yeah.
They were. Yeah, I think they were 25 at this time. That was a big win for us, beating that team. I think they took the first two from us, so taking the Sunday game was a big deal.
And so you're just on third base, and their pitcher throws one in the dirt, and you got home. Was that the basic?
Yeah, I think he missed a. I think it was a changeup outside, and the catcher missed it, and lucky enough to score. And I think Tom Scorlo shut it down in the ninth. So that was a great win for sure.
Yeah, and that Maryland team, I think, now ranked top 10 or top 15.
Anyway. Yeah, they're top 10.
They're going to host, I think, in this opening round of the NCAA tournament. Did you have a favorite stadium in the Big Ten, or maybe not even in the Big Ten? Maybe it was a non-conference game that you guys went to, or a favorite destination after year one?
Yeah, I liked Indiana a lot. They got an awesome stadium, awesome setup. I think that was probably my favorite place we played at this year.
I saw they had a weird game where they were ahead of, was it last week? They were ahead of Iowa like 13-2 or something. Ended up giving up 30 runs. That game must have taken 6 hours or something. But that was a crazy game. It's interesting you say that. Not that anyone cares, but that's my favorite trip. I travel with the football and the basketball team. I also like Indiana, particularly for basketball. Yeah. It's a great campus, cool facility, a cool kind of It's not a small town, but it's smaller, and it has a campus vibe. I agree. I like that trip. So that was a fun trip for you. Well, hey, it's we want to wish you good luck for the Northwoods League as it comes up here starting next week. Kenosha's the team to keep an eye on if people want to follow you. And I suppose the Brewers come to Minnesota here to take on the Twins in the interleague game, but you probably in the heart of the season won't be able to watch that one in person at least. But we'll wish your other than those couple of games, we'll wish your dad and the Brewers good luck, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brady. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
There he is, Gopher baseball player Brady Counsell. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as he was coming to you from his home near Milwaukee. The Go Gopher podcast, episode number 21, is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. We're also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland. Brandon Morton is our producer and technical expert. And again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please be sure to subscribe to the Go Gopher podcast right now. It's absolutely free to listen at any time. And also share the link on your social media channels. And don't forget to get us your questions for an upcoming mailbag segment. Hit me with your questions on my Twitter account, MikeGrim3, #GoGopherPodcast. We'll talk again next week.